So this video will be covering the replacement of the prop shaft on the TT-01 Tamiya chassis. So it's fairly simple. It's easier. It takes a little less time if you start with the front and replace the front shaft cup first. But either way, it'll be pretty simple. Just got to remember when you remove the gear cover, that allows you to get everything else put together and get the shaft put in place so that way it fits in the cups so you have four-wheel drive like the truck's supposed to. Now, as you can see, it's fairly simple. 4 screws on the gear cover, 2 screws for the little cross bridge or the little upper bridge that holds it together, and you get the cup out. Now, you got to be careful. Later on, you'll see that I had to use a pair of needle nose pliers to get the little pin out that the spur gear rides on. Right here, I was trying to see if I could use the stock plastic cups with the aluminum one, the aluminum shaft, and they do work, but they're not. The depth of the cup, the depth of the cup does not allow for the shaft to fit properly. So you have to use the aluminum ones. You got to change out all 3 parts. So now you can see here I'm removing the diff case so I can get at everything on the inside. It's 5 screws for the diff case, and it comes right off, unless you want to take the shocks off too, which I suggest because it's a lot easier. Now that I had everything apart and I grabbed a set of needle nose, as you'll see in a little bit, to be able to get that pin out of the stock plastic cup and replace it into the aluminum one, everything was able to get buttoned back up and fit together nicely. It's just trying to get the pin out of the stock piece. It has a really tight fit, so just be careful not to bend that when you're trying to remove it. So now onto the front, 5 screws to expose the diff, and then I removed the 2 little screws for the steering arms. It just made it a little bit easier. Once you get all this exposed, now is probably the good time, if you have bearings lying around, to check the bearings, or in the case of mine, because it's an older chassis, mine had bushings. I just took the 2 bushings out. They popped right out the front, no problem. They were still pretty good. They weren't really worn like the wheel bushings were, but I still replaced them with bearings while I was there. Just makes it a lot easier. And then afterwards, I had to take the gear cover off the back, so that way I could get the shaft in place and everything buttoned up nicely. After that, it's pretty quick, pretty simple. It took me about 15 minutes in total time, just trying to get everything out without breaking stuff, or just trying to figure out how, quickly figure out how to do it, because again, I don't really have a whole lot of experience with on-road chassis. But it was pretty simple. It's not very hard to figure out. A few minutes of tinkering with it, and you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. If you like this kind of content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and hit that little notification bell to stay notified of when I update and upload new videos. Links to all the social medias are in the description below. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comment, or just reach out on the socials.